This is a Hot Pie Original.
All right, here we go once again, people of Texas. For humanitarian reasons, for safety reasons, for public health reasons, for taxpayer expense reasons, you have every right, and I think most of us would agree, every obligation to care about immigration, illegal immigration, and legal immigration on the Texas border. All of those arguments, all of those issues, all of that should be on the table. All of those issues have been on the table. So let's say it together because we're at the same spot. We are probably every election cycle. Notice the trend here, taxpayers. But we'll do it together because it is the mantra of the last 25 years. Every election cycle. We'll say it together. You want to chant together? We're not quite to build that wall, but we're going to end up on build that wall. It's time to do something. We have to say it together because this is what your candidates are going to say. It's time to do something about illegal immigration. Yeah. So before we talk, or I talk, or present all the things that have not happened and will not happen, I'll say the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, has his best clickbait so far. Politically, I would submit to you, he's getting double bonus points in his world, the only world that matters. The one that really matters. South Texas doesn't matter. Voters of Texas don't really matter. Your taxpayer money doesn't matter. What really matters is that he gets double bonus points for generating Fox News mentions. He's hit a Fox News clickbait home run. In fact, I think he's hitting for the cycle almost in terms of Fox News clickbait. Here's why I say that. This is just the politics and the political optics first. And then we can talk about the substance, which doesn't matter. But let's talk about the political optics first. Other than race war talk, the next best Fox News piece of clickbait is immigration. Right? I mean, you can argue maybe it's the best, but I would say race war talk is probably number one. Then for clickbait on Fox News, then immigration is next. They are coming to get you, Grandma, plays perfectly all day, every day on Fox News. So now, Greg Abbott, I'm going to avoid saying just like every 6 months, just like every election cycle, he's saying today, I've had it. I'm going to fix this problem because the Biden administration will not do it. I know. If you're a thinking human being and you lived in Texas for any amount of time, you would say, my gosh, we hear that every 6 months. I know. Stop thinking for a second and just play dumb. Play dumb for just a few minutes. Play emotional. Just go full on emotion for a few minutes. He gets to say, I'm going to fix it. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm here to save all of you. Right? So for extra points, I mean, you got to give him credit for creativity and tenacity. This man and his marketing team are working they're working day and night to get Fox News mentions. And I think they've hit payday. They really have, because he gets to say, I've had it. And he gets to wear that look we've all seen 700 times of every election cycle. You know, the look where they're flying around on the helicopter and they're acting like outlaw Josie Wales and they got the khaki shirt on. I'm mad now. I'm going to fix this place. You know, that look that we see all the time. He gets to do that. But then he decided, somebody in the marketing department at Team Abbott decided, hey, say wall. Huh? Yeah, just say it. I'm not going to do it. Oh, don't worry about that stuff, candidate Abbott. Just say wall. Yeah. It worked so well for the last guy. Do that. Okay. Wall. Aha. Got to give him points for going there. So he gets extra points for saying, we'll build a wall. You're not going to build a wall. And normal people know that. But he gets to say it, and that's all that matters. And you know that. Thinking people know that. You know that's all that matters. So now, here's the political optics and why I think that this is really a good day for the candidate Greg Abbott, which is all that matters, right? So the candidate Greg Abbott gets, I've had it. He gets the khaki shirt. He gets the helicopter flyover. And then he gets to throw, for good measure, wall. And it's the double whammy for him. And here's why I would say that. This helps him in his run up to the White House. This helps him as presidential candidate Greg Abbott because he gets to own something that other people don't get. I mean, the guy in Florida doesn't get this. Elsewhere around the country, they don't get this. So, Abbott gets this one. For every other Republican candidate that's out there, he gets this prize to say, I'll fix it. I'm not saying he will fix it. I'm just saying clickbait, okay? He gets the best clickbait prize as a presidential candidate. On top of that, just to prove to you that this is really a nice blocking strategy as a marketer, he also gets to own this in the state of Texas as governor. And if he's not a candidate he is a candidate for the White House, but if he's, if at some point D. Trump says, I want back in, you guys have got to get out of my way. It's my job. I'm the dictator. And so he has to back out of that. He gets the bonus points in the state of Texas. And I would say that assuming it's Greg Abbott v. Beto O'Rourke, let's forget Matthew McConaughey and Kumbaya for a second. If it is Greg Abbott v. Beto O'Rourke, I think he really blocks out Beto O'Rourke on this issue. Beto is going to do nothing but give speeches in Spanish. He's not going to have a plan. So Abbott's going to have the chance to own the optics. Remember, nothing will happen. There is no substance. So don't think anything's going to happen. Think in terms of the optics. I think that not only does Abbott get to own this as a candidate for the White House, he gets to own this one as the governor. So double whammy, double points, all the good clickbait. He gets 48 hours of bonus clickbait on Fox News. And he gets to wear the khaki shirt, and he may even bust out that cowboy hat for once. The guy from West Austin, the guy from Pemberton. Yeah, he's going to pretend to bust out a cowboy hat. So there's a lot of good optics, a really, really good day, in my opinion, for the candidate of president and the candidate of governor. Right? He's going to have full 48 hours. You watch it. You can start the clock if it hasn't happened already. He'll get 48 hours of Fox News attention and ass kissing. He'll get 48 hours of AM talk radio ass kissing for both jobs. In case you've been under a rock, here is the answer. Governor Greg Abbott, according to Houston Chronicle, announced late yesterday that Texas will build a border wall along the state's boundary with Mexico. Do we need to go through the exercise again to tell you how far that is? Yeah. Kind of like the last wall. But provided no details on where or when. Whatever, right? Who needs details? Abbott has blamed the recent surge of migrants to the Texas-Mexico border on the Biden administration's immigration policies, claiming that new federal policies have paved the way for dangerous gangs and cartels and human traffickers. Don't do this thing with me or anyone else. You're acting as if the border is not an issue. It's an issue and has been for 30-something years. No one's pretending otherwise. No one is. That's not the point of this conversation. That's not a point of what he's doing. It's not that at all. So, okay. Well, so Jeff, what's the problem here? Everything. Mostly everything. Hey, I'm here with John McClellan, the creator and founder of ATX Hot Sauce. And when I say that you started this, maybe not screwing around in your kitchen, but maybe not that far removed from screwing around in your kitchen. So talk about the creation, the process, the dream that came out of the pandemic.
It's from Austin, from Texas. There's not a lot of hot sauces out there that are actually from here. There's a few great ones too, but Frank's and Tabasco and some of these other ones, I want something that's Texan like me. It's different. And I think that's what Texas is a little bit about. That's what Austin's about. So that flavor first without the vinegar, and then going into the heat after that, but not a blow your head off heat. If you notice, a lot of the hot sauces out there that you see are like Da Bomb or Death's Door, right?
Yeah.
And they're just supposed to blow your head off when you do it, when you taste it. Well, that's not the kind of hot sauce that I'm making. I'm making a hot sauce for the everyday person, for the condiment for every single day. And that's why the flavor first, heat second is so important, that you get those flavors, the nuances, whatever food that you're making.
All right, order a box now. It's atxhotsauce.com, atxhotsauce.com. You going to fall for this? I mean, that's an honest question. You're going to fall for this. Are you going to act like every AM radio host and fall for this? You're not going to build a wall. You're not. Okay? And if Abbott is good at fixing the border crisis, and by the way, nobody is, okay? But if Greg Abbott is so good at fixing the border crisis, now a crisis going on 30 plus years, the same stories, the same rhetoric has been going on for decades. Okay? But if he's so good at fixing the border crisis, why hasn't this crisis been fixed by the same party with the same I'm fixing it approach for the better part of the last 25 years? Don't act as if this pitch from Greg Abbott is new. It's not even new for the past 6 months. Every candidate of every election cycle not only says I'm going to fix it, my gosh, he put $370 million not long ago towards the border. I'm fixing this. No, you're not. You're going to fix it again and again and again and again. Do you know how many times? Go ahead and Google it. Go ahead. Google it. I guarantee you will have a dozen stories of a governor, of the Texas Republican governor, whether it's Rick Perry or Greg Abbott, for 21 years. They not only have said they're going to fix it, they've bragged about fixing it. Google the stories. 300 million there, 500 million there, 370 recently. Okay? Remember not long ago during an election cycle, we had the promise. Remember that whole thing about helicopters, gunboats, dogs, more troops, more guns, more gunboats. We're going to fix this once and for all. I'm sorry. If the party in power is so good at fixing it, why would you trust them to fix it anymore? It's so awful today, after 25 years of you fixing it, you haven't fixed it? Is anyone falling for this garbage? And the answer, of course, is yes. Yes. You're falling for it. Or maybe you're sort of falling for it. So, look, it's an asinine idea. Okay? Where do we want to start on the state of Texas building the wall? Really? And from what fund is that coming from? Who's building that? Is he going to get some dudes to do it? The dudes who built Mopac over here, they're going to do it? Who's building this wall? The same hucksters that built the last one? You know, the ones in jail now? Who's building this wall? Does anybody bother to ask? How can you even tolerate for one single second one more pitch about immigration and no details? One more, I'm going to look like Clint Eastwood looking over Southwest Texas and the desert, and I'm going to fix it. One more of those looks, and nothing happens. Or a lot's attempted. And if a lot is attempted, because we've been spending money on this, do not think for a single second, every candidate of the last 25 years has made a plan to put money and guns and boats and more money and more guns and boats to fixing the border. 21 years of Republican governors have said the same thing every election cycle, and they've had a plan. But yet now here we are in another election cycle saying none of those things worked. Huh. Now a wall? Would you like to wager on the wall? Would you like to make a bet on this wall? Would you like to ask exactly whose property we're going to build this wall on? We're going to go through that whole thing again about this wall. He knows better, and it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that there's not legitimate issues that have to be fixed. They do. They do. You're going to fall for this. Yes, the answer is clearly yes, and it's going to happen over the next 48 hours. So, look. Oh yeah, Jeff, you suck. What's your answer? Well, let's have a realistic conversation as Texans for a second. My answer for a plan that sucks less than the other plans, because see, there's no perfect answer. You know how we know that? Because we've been doing this for 30-something years. So all we can do is maybe find and hear and applaud plans that suck less than the other plans. And in terms of plans, you think tomorrow a wall is the plan? Do you? Can I just bring up the last few years and maybe that'll change your mind? So what exactly would work? Okay, well, I'll just offer an opinion because nothing will happen. But George W. Bush, I said it, I believe it was about 10 years ago. There's most of the things, certainly in foreign policy, I disagree with George W. Bush, where I thought he had tried just to prove to you that there's a stalemate politically and there's no real intent. He tried two things. One, he had a very, very clear-cut and innovative approach to Social Security. I agreed with it. It went nowhere fast. Number two, he had and did a very nice job of detailing a plan on immigration policies. I agreed with it then, agreed with it today, and it went nowhere fast. That plan was, in my opinion, the most, you never hear these words anymore, but the most reasonable, the most comprehensive, the most well thought out, the most doable plan that I'd heard of in a long time. And that plan, just to sort of summarize, and those are all foreign words, I understand. I get that. We're not reasonable. We're not practical. We don't operate in those terms. The world is black and white to us. It was a very nuanced approach to immigration that I thought was pretty well thought out. No, it was not going to be perfect. There is no such thing. But it was this convergence of citizenship tied to proof of employment. In other words, he really did. I thought they did a masterful job. Again, it's never going to be perfect. A masterful job of connecting dots of employment over time, proving employment over time, which would lead to a path to citizenship. In other words, we're not going to round you up if you're employed. We want you to prove that you're employed. And as you prove that you're employed, then you stay. It was well thought out, a good plan, nowhere. So there's no such thing as a perfect plan, but you're not going to build a wall. And if you say you're going to build a wall and you're going to act like some dumbass AM radio host and fall for it, could you not at least ask a few questions? Really, with what money, sir? What? Where'd it come from? You know, if there's ever a time to legalize marijuana, now would be the time to do it. Candidate Abbott, you need a couple $2 billion for your fake wall that'll take longer than the wall on Mopac to build? Then legalize weed. Otherwise, hey, buddy, where's the money coming from? Where? Somebody want to go and do that private thing again? You go right ahead. Go to jail like everyone else. So how, where, when? Have you checked with the people that own the land? You know, we've gone through all these exercises of how difficult it is and how impractical it is to throw up this wall. But we give him bonus points for at least trying, or at least saying it, just saying it. So it's not going to happen. The immigration issue of today is the same discussion, same problems, same immigration scorecard of 6 months ago, of 6 years ago, of 16 years ago, of 35 years ago. To act every month as if this is a new problem is laughable. It's not. To say that it's not an issue is also laughable. But to act like all of a sudden, I'm here to fix it. Is anyone not keeping score? Just ask yourself as you hear this and you say, you know what, Jeff, that's fine. I don't want to write this off. I really want us to come up with a plan. Fair enough. Fair enough. Then ask yourself, wait a minute. Why would I trust the people that have been in power, that have been presenting plan after plan after plan for 20-something years? I'll bet you a glass of wine on it, which we're going to have in the morning, just in a few minutes. But Greg Abbott pitched a plan. Greg Abbott had a plan about how many DPS troopers did he send? I believe it's $370 million. Either way, every cycle, you have a plan that is floated. Every time there's an election, you have the candidate. You only have one party here, but if the candidates say, I'm fixing this, here's my plan, and the plan is approved. It's 21 years of the exact plans, not just pitched, done. We've spent the money. We have gunboats. We have helicopters. We've got DPS troopers. He himself has done it. He's been governor for 6 years. Why didn't he build a wall last year? Why didn't he build a wall 5 years ago? Why just this now? Why hasn't this damn wall been built before? The job's been held for a long, long time by candidate after candidate and governor after governor who said, I'm fixing this. Where the hell was this wall 20 years ago? So, come on, there's a scorecard. There is a scorecard. There are promises after promises and dollar after dollar that have been pitched. And this one's just a new one, a new day, same issues, same end result. You know what will be said 1 year from now? The exact same things that are said today. You know what will be said 5 years from now? The exact same things that are said today. You know what you hear from Greg Abbott or Rick Perry or fill in the blank with an R next to their name? And no, by the way, if you say, well, what's Beto going to do? I just told you what Beto's going to do. Beto O'Rourke is going to give speeches in Spanish. That's what he's going to do. So nobody's solving the problem. If you want to give Republicans credit for saying, at least you're spending the money, they're spending the money. But don't act like it's new. Don't. And don't act for a single second that you're really going to do this. How long do you think it's going to take? Like, really? Ask that last nut job how that wall thing panned out. Ask the losers who donated money to some crooks to do another wall. And then ask the people in power in this state. Ask every taxpayer in this state for a major issue, the better part of 30 years here in this state. Ask somebody, okay, I've heard your attempt. I've seen your attempt and I've seen you spend the money. Have you accomplished something or not? I don't know why somebody doesn't say. Well, I do know why. Because nothing exists outside of the echo chamber of the candidate. But is anyone ever going to raise their hand and say, yeah, but didn't you just put $370 million in troops down there and brag about it? How come that didn't work either? Are you saying 21 years of Republican governors in the state of Texas putting money, weapons, and manpower on the border, are you saying none of that worked? Yes or no? It seems you're saying it didn't work. Now we got to try this. And try this, he says, is a wall. A+ for political creativity. D- for substance.
The location where they're coming across the border has already changed, and those who live here in Val Verde County have seen that. It used to be highly focused in the Rio Grande Valley region. Now we see a massive increase in the number of people coming across the border where we are right now, which is in Val Verde County. And the people coming across, especially in Val Verde County, are changing also. It's not so much the unaccompanied minors. You have very dangerous people who are involved in human trafficking, drug trafficking, people that if you encounter, you don't know if you're going to walk away safely from. You should not have to face that danger in your community. A change is needed. So tonight I am announcing additional action that we are taking to secure the border and to restore order here in the border region. First is what we're doing right now. This emergency called Border Security Summit that brings together local officials and residents to talk about immediate solutions. Not something we're going to do next year, not something that will begin next month, but something that will begin immediately. Second, I am right now invoking Article 4 of the Texas Constitution to form the Governor's Task Force on Border and Homeland Security. It will help all of us to work on ways to stem the flow of unlawful immigration and to stem the flow of illegal contraband. In this task force that I'm going to be signing right now, it includes the following members: the Office of the Governor, the Office of the Attorney General of Texas, the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas Division of Emergency Management, the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, and the Texas Commission on Jail Standards. And they will meet every 2 weeks with the Texas Border Sheriff's Coalition, county judges, mayors, property rights organizations, concerned citizens, and prosecutors in border communities, and we will work these every 2 weeks to make sure that we are coming up with every solution to make your border safer.